The country club ballrooms sparkled with celebration. 75 guests mingled beneath crystal chandeliers, toasting my father's 35-year career at the law firm. The cake was elaborate, 3 tiers decorated with fondant briefcases and gavels. The champagne flowed freely. Everything was perfect, orchestrated down to the last detail by my mother, who'd spent 3 months planning this moment. My brother Jason had dominated the last 20 minutes of conversation, regaling anyone within earshot about his $15,000 year-end bonus from the tech company where he worked as a mid-level project manager. The way he told it, you'd think he'd single-handedly saved the company from bankruptcy. My parents beamed at every word. Then Grandma Patricia, my mother's mother, sharp as a tack at 79, dropped her question into the middle of Jason's performance like a grenade. The effect was instantaneous. Jason's voice cut off mid-sentence, his mouth hanging open in confusion. The small circle of relatives around us went quiet. My father's champagne glass paused halfway to his lips. My mother's perfectly applied smile froze on her face, her eyes darting between Grandma and me with something close to panic. I took a slow, deliberate sip of my Chardonnay and waited for the explosion I knew was coming. Grandma, oblivious to the tension she'd created, continued cheerfully. The property taxes in that neighborhood must be substantial. What are you paying now, sweetie? Around $6,800 annually? That's gone up since you bought the place, hasn't it? It's $7,200 now, I confirmed calmly. But yes, I've kept up with every payment. Never missed one in 9 years. The number seemed to echo in the sudden silence. $7,200. Annually. For 9 years. The math was simple enough for everyone to do in their heads. My mother found her voice first, though it came out strained and too high. Mom, I think you're confused. Elena doesn't own property. She lives in that apartment downtown. Grandma's eyebrows rose in genuine surprise. Downtown? Margaret, what are you talking about? Elena bought that beautiful Tudor on Westwood Lane 9 years ago. I was there for the closing. I co-signed her loan application, remember? The silence that followed was so complete I could hear the piano player in the far corner of the ballroom, still tinkling away at some jazz standard, completely unaware of the family implosion happening 30 feet away. Jason recovered first, his voice sharp with disbelief. You co-signed a loan? Grandma, when was this? April 2016, Grandma said, pulling out her phone with the practiced ease of someone who'd embraced technology. Let me show you. I have photos from the closing day right here. No, my mother said quickly, reaching for Grandma's phone. That's not necessary. There's obviously been some miscommunication. There's no miscommunication. I set down my wine glass with deliberate care. Grandma's right. I bought a house in April 2016. A 2,400 square foot Tudor with 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, original leaded glass windows and a half-acre lot. Purchase price, $365,000. Down payment, $73,000. Financed amount, $292,000. The specificity of the numbers made them undeniable. My father's face had gone from retirement party pink to ash gray. My mother looked like she might be sick. Jason stared at me like I'd just announced I was actually an alien. That's impossible, Jason said flatly. Where would you get $73,000 for a down payment? You work at a library. I'm the director of library services for the entire county system, I corrected. I make $94,000 a year. Before that, I was assistant director making $76,000. Before that, I was head of reference services making $62,000. I've been steadily promoted for the last 12 years. But you wouldn't know that because you've never asked about my career beyond, how's the library? My brother's bonus suddenly seemed a lot less impressive. His face flushed dark red. Elena, my father said, his lawyer voice kicking in despite the champagne and celebration, this doesn't make sense. If you bought a house 9 years ago, why wouldn't you tell us? That's a major life milestone. I did tell you. You weren't listening. That's not fair, my mother started. Isn't it? I pulled out my phone, opening my text message history. April 23, 2016. I texted the family group chat. Big news. Just closed on my first house. Can't wait to show you all. Mom, do you remember your response? Silence. You wrote, that's nice, honey. Did you see Jason's post about his new car? You changed the subject in literally the next sentence. Dad didn't respond at all. Jason sent a thumbs up emoji. The evidence was there, preserved in digital amber. My mother's face crumpled. I invited you all to my housewarming party in June 2016, I continued, my voice steady and factual. You said you were busy with Jason's engagement party planning. I sent photos of my renovated kitchen in 2018. Mom replied, looks good, and immediately started a new conversation about Jason's wedding. I mentioned needing to replace my water heater last year. Dad suggested I call a plumber and then asked if I was coming to Jason's promotion dinner. Each memory was a small cut, precise and clean. Death by 1,000 oversights. Grandma nodded slowly, understanding finally dawning in her eyes. They really didn't know, did they? Elena, I thought you were joking when you said they'd never visited. Never once in 9 years, I confirmed. Not for the housewarming. Not for any holiday I've hosted. Not even when I specifically invited them for Christmas dinner 3 years ago. You hosted Christmas? My mother's voice cracked. But we have Christmas here. We have Christmas here. I stopped coming 5 years ago. I've been hosting my own for the past 4 years. 23 people last year. Friends, colleagues, neighbors. People who actually know where I live. The revelation seemed to hit my parents like a physical blow. My father set down his champagne flute before he could drop it. 5 years, he whispered. You haven't been to our Christmas in 5 years? I've said I had other plans every year. You never asked what plans. You never suggested alternative dates. You just said "foy" and moved on. I shrugged. I stopped expecting you to care. Jason found his voice again, anger replacing shock. So what, you've been playing some kind of game? Keeping secrets to prove a point. I haven't kept secrets, Jason. I've lived my life openly. You all just never paid enough attention to notice. There's a difference between keeping secrets and being ignored. Grandma touched my arm gently. Show them the photos, sweetie. They should see what they've been missing. I hesitated, then opened my photo gallery. Passed my phone to my mother. Watched as she scrolled through 9 years of documentation. The house on closing day, the garden I'd planted, the kitchen renovation, the bathroom remodel, the finished basement, holiday decorations, dinner parties, book club meetings, game nights, my vegetable garden in full bloom, the pergola I'd built with friends. The entire life, fully documented, completely invisible to my family. My mother's tears started halfway through the gallery. By the end, she was openly sobbing, mascara streaming down her face. Elena, this is beautiful. Why didn't we know about this? Because you never looked. I posted these on social media. I mentioned renovations in passing. I talked about my garden, my dinner parties, my life. You just never engaged beyond surface level acknowledgement. My father took the phone from my mother, scrolling back through the images with shaking hands. You did all this yourself? The renovations, the landscaping? With help from friends. People you've never met because you've never asked about my social life. I reclaimed my phone. I have a whole community of people who actually show up for me. They helped me paint. They helped me build the pergola. They come over for barbecues and game nights and holiday dinners. They know me. Really know me. But we're your family, my mother protested weakly. Are you? The question hung in the air like smoke. Because family usually knows where each other lives. Family celebrates each other's milestones. Family doesn't go 9 years without visiting someone's home. A colleague of my father's approached, oblivious to the tension, clapping him on the shoulder. Bill, congratulations again. You must be so proud of your kids. Jason here was just telling me about his big bonus. And Elena, library director. That's wonderful. My wife uses the county library constantly. My father managed a strange smile. Yes, we're very proud. The colleague wandered off. The silence returned, heavier now. $7,200 in property taxes, Jason said quietly, doing the math. That's $64,800 over 9 years. Plus mortgage payments, maintenance, renovations. Elena, how much have you put into this house? Including the down payment, mortgage principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and renovations? I calculated quickly. Approximately $387,000 over 9 years. The number landed like a bomb. Jason's $15,000 bonus suddenly looked like pocket change. Where did you get that kind of money? my father asked, his lawyer brain finally engaging fully. Elena, be honest with us. Are you in debt? Did you take out loans you can't afford? I have zero debt except my mortgage, which has a current balance of $186,000. I've paid down $106,000 in principal in 9 years through regular payments and periodic extra payments. My credit score is 798. My emergency fund could cover 18 months of expenses. I max out my 401k every year. I have no credit card debt, no car payment, no personal loans. I met his eyes steadily. I'm more financially stable than Jason has ever been, despite his bragging about bonuses. Jason flushed again. That's not fair. You don't know my financial situation. Don't I? You've posted about every purchase on social media. The new car you're still paying off. The vacation you put on credit cards. The designer watch. The golf club membership. I shrugged. I pay attention to both of you. You just don't pay attention to me. Grandma nodded approvingly. Elena's always been the smart one. Lived below her means, saved aggressively, invested wisely. I told her that house was a good investment. It's appreciated to $512,000 now. She has over $326,000 in equity. The numbers kept coming, each one a revelation. My mother had stopped crying and now just looked stunned. My father's expression had shifted from shock to something like respect, though grief edged it. Why? My mother finally asked. Why didn't you make us pay attention? Why didn't you demand we acknowledge your accomplishments? Because I shouldn't have to beg my own family to care about my life. I picked up my wine glass, found it empty, set it back down. I tried it first. I really did. But after years of being talked over, interrupted, dismissed, and ignored, I stopped trying. I built a life without your validation because it became clear I wasn't going to get it. That's not true, my father protested. We love you. We've always been proud of you. Have you? Dad, when's the last time you called me just to talk? Not to ask me to help with something, not to pass along information about a family obligation, but just to see how I'm doing. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away. Mom, when's the last time you asked about my work? My hobbies? My friends? My life beyond surface-level pleasantries? My mother's tears started again. I don't remember. I can tell you exactly. It was February 2014 before I bought the house. You asked how work was going. I told you about a grant I'd written that secured $500,000 for library programming. You said, that's wonderful, and then spent 45 minutes telling me about Jason's new apartment. The specificity of the memory seemed to cut deeper than anger ever could. Jason shifted uncomfortably. Elena, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I existed beyond being your older sister. I know. That's been clear for a long time. Grandma stood, collecting her purse. I think Elena and I are going to leave now. It's been a long evening. Mom, please. My mother reached for Grandma's arm. Don't go. We need to talk about this. No, Margaret. Elena needs space and you all need to think about what she said. Really think about it. Grandma's voice was firm. I've watched you overlook this brilliant, accomplished, wonderful woman for years. She bought a house, renovated it beautifully, built a career, created a community, and none of you noticed because you were too busy celebrating Jason's mediocrity. Grandma. Jason protested. It's true and you know it. Elena has accomplished more than you have, makes more money than you do, and has built something real and lasting. But your parents throw you parties for bonuses while they don't even know where she lives. Grandma kissed my cheek. Come on, sweetie. Let's go see that garden you've been telling me about. I want to see those roses you grafted. I stood, gathering my clutch. My father reached for my arm. Elena, please. Don't leave like this. It's my retirement party. I know. Congratulations, Dad. I'm genuinely happy for you. But I need to go home now. To my house. The one I've owned for 9 years. The one you've never seen. Can we come see it? My mother asked desperately. Please? Tomorrow? Next weekend? I considered this, studying their faces. The shock, the grief, the dawning understanding of what they'd missed. Maybe. If you actually want to see my life, not just assuage your guilt. Call me. We'll figure it out. We will, my father promised. Elena, we will do better. I hope so. For your sake more than mine. I've learned to live without your approval. I don't need it anymore. I paused. But it would be nice to have a family that actually knew me. Grandma and I walked out together, leaving behind the party, the champagne, the celebration of my father's accomplishments while my own went unrecognized. We drove through familiar streets to Westwood Lane, to the house that had been my sanctuary for 9 years. Inside, Grandma walked through every room slowly, pride evident in her eyes. She'd seen it before many times, but she took her time anyway. Appreciating the built-in bookshelves, the updated kitchen, the backyard garden lit by solar lights. "Your mother's going to feel terrible," Grandma said finally, settling onto my couch with tea. "I know. Your father too. And Jason. I know that too. Are you going to forgive them?" I thought about it, looking around at the home I'd built, the life I'd created, the person I'd become without their input or approval. Maybe. Eventually. If they actually try. If they actually show up. And if they don't? Then I'll keep living this life. With people who do show up. With you, Grandma. She smiled, reaching for my hand. "That house was the best investment you ever made. Not just financially, though that equity is impressive, but because it gave you space to become who you really are without them defining you. I know. Thank you for helping me get it. Thank you for inviting me into this life. For letting me be part of it." He squeezed my hand. "Your grandfather would be so proud of you." 2 weeks later, my parents came to visit. Just them, no Jason. They walked through the house in silence, taking in everything they'd missed. My mother cried again. My father kept shaking his head in disbelief. 9 years, he kept repeating. 9 years we could have been part of this. "Yes," I said simply. 9 years. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was acknowledgement. It was them finally seeing what had been invisible for so long. Jason came the following week, alone. We sat in my backyard under the pergola and talked honestly for the first time in years. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I've been a terrible brother. I know. I don't know how to fix it. Start by showing up. Start by asking questions. Start by caring about the answers." It wasn't much. But it was a beginning. 6 months later, my mortgage balance dropped below $170,000. I'd been making extra payments, accelerating my path to ownership. My parents came to dinner once a month now. Jason stopped by occasionally. They were trying. It wasn't the family I'd wanted. But it was the family I had finally paying attention. And in my house, my beautiful, hard-won, fully mine house, that was enough. Ownership has a name. Mine. And now finally everyone knew it. The property taxes came due again. $7,200 paid in full on time, just like always. The difference was, this time my parents knew about it.